I'm going to tell you some jokes, Shang, and please laugh.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one. That was the first joke.
Oh, no.
How'd you know?
Oh, what a great joke.
All right, here we go. Joke number 1. What do you call InuYasha when he goes outside?
What?
InuYasha.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. All right. What's the next
Can you
one?
could you give a rating from 0 to 10?
That's a 0. That's a zero.
Wait a second. Wait. All right. Well, okay. The next one. What did Naraku say when he learned he would be fighting Jockin for Wednesday fight night?
What do you say?
This guy, you must be jocking me. I think there was a laugh somewhere in there.
Oh, boy. Oh, man.
All right. Here we go. I saved the best for last. What was Shippo called when he was a baby?
What?
Boat Po.
What?
I don't know.
What?
I came up with those in like 3 minutes.
What? Oh boy. The ratings for these jokes is a 0, a 3. I'll give this one a 3.5.
Nice. Only up from here.
Only up from here. Loofie at the closest comedy club. Come soon.
I am bringing out all the funnies today, so watch out.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Come soon. Get your tickets while they're still hot. Because if not, they'll be really cold.
The Shang's not opening for me. All right, here we go. The stakes are ramping up as we reach the final episodes of InuYasha.
InuYasha, Naraku, and Sesshomaru fight for the final Shikon Jewel Shard.
Kohaku resolves to atone for his sins by killing Naraku.
InuYasha and the gang take a small breather.
This podcast episode recaps InuYasha 155 to 161.
My name is Shang.
And my name's Loofie.
And welcome to
Anime Rewind. Welcome to Anime Rewind, the podcast where we revisit animes from our childhood and try to see if they hold up to today or if they should just remain a good memory. Shang, InuYasha is getting so good right now.
It really is, honestly.
Like last week we were talking about it returning to form. It has returned to form and gotten better.
I know you've kind of given me some spoilers about how good the ending was, and I'm really excited for how that's going to end, honestly.
Wait, but Shang,
What's that?
I always tell you the ending sucks.
Oh, I see. Oh, no.
Oh.
Oh.
But anyways, continue on with your thought. Continue on with your thought there.
Oh, God, I can't wait to see the final episodes of InuYasha, even though they might suck. But, regardless of that, it sounds like it'll be a good conclusion.
I mean, it's gonna conclude our year-long effort to start this podcast, you know? Like, we've been watching InuYasha for almost a year now, and I think it's still gonna be very nostalgic, you know? Like, it's like a wrap-up on our childhood.
Oh, that is the crazy part, because I've never seen these episodes before, but yet somehow they still feel nostalgic in a way.
I actually thought about it. I feel like it's because we spent so much time with these characters and these characters have spent so much time in our memories that it's almost like we know those characters. So when we kind of see new things happening with them, even though it's new to us, we know the characters well enough that it's kind of like, yeah, this brings back fond memories of me like remembering InuYasha and the gang.
Or brings back false memories of, oh yeah, I've never seen the ending, so this is my fake ending. Now I can just see the real ending.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The lie's finally over. I can now know the truth.
But then you can see the true ending when you finally watch InuYasha, the final act.
Oh no. Okay. That's another year right there. I feel it.
So I prepared new trivia questions for us, and I'm kind of excited about these. A thing I realized is that as we do more episodes, I'm running out of questions. But good thing we're nearing the end of InuYasha, right? Like,
Right.
good thing we're nearing the end.
Oh man, what colors are InuYasha's eyes? Blue. They're blue.
I think they're brown.
Oh no, he's got the brown
I
eye.
don't know. Oh, I've never paid attention.
Ah, me
What
neither.
color are InuYasha's clothes? Oh man, that one's a hard
That's a
one.
hard one.
All right, Shang, here we go. Question
Okay.
number 1. What are the names of Kikyo's 2 Shikigami?
Thing 1 and thing 2.
That's close. That's close.
Okay.
Question number 2. What is the name of the weapon that Kohaku wields?
The Haraikos.
Yeah, that's definitely Kohaku, right?
I mean, no? Is it no?
Shang, I feel like you might need another rewatch of InuYasha to remember these answers.
I think I'd be okay with that.
But for our listeners, just wait until the end of the episode where we reveal the answers to these 2 trivia questions. So look forward to that. For this episode, Shang, we watched InuYasha 155 to 161. So why don't we do what we do best and give a summary of the episodes in a brief and concise manner.
All right.
155 to 157. InuYasha and the gang, Naraku and Sesshomaru enter the Netherworld where they find the final jewel shard being guarded by Hosenki. InuYasha strengthens his sword at the behest of Hosenki, gaining the power of the adamant barrage. Kagome fires Kikyo's arrow at Naraku, forcing him to flee and securing the final shard of the Shikon jewel for the group.
Ooh, that's a lot. That's a good one. 158 to 159. Hakudoshi attempts to lure Kikyo out of hiding using a swarm of demon rats. Enraged by Naraku's baseless action, Kikyo resolves to seek out Naraku. Kohaku watches helplessly as the demon rats kill innocent villagers. However, in order to get to Naraku's heart and slay him, he cannot defy Naraku's orders just yet.
Dude, that actually was a really good 2 episodes, to be honest.
That really was. And the conflict. I felt it. I loved it. Kohaku, what are you doing? Sister, I'm sorry, but I can't betray him, but I can't tell you either.
160. Kagome returns to the modern era without telling InuYasha. InuYasha proceeds to follow Kagome and breaks everything he touches.
This one was kind of a wholesome episode. I liked it.
This episode cracked me up. I loved it. Especially when they started playing like the epic fight song when InuYasha was fighting the bike.
Yeah.
That was my highlight.
161. Moroku makes a promise that he cannot remember to wed a girl he healed in the past. Amidst this sticky situation, Moroku reaffirms his desire to wed Sango after defeating Naraku.
Aw, that's sweet. The second sense. The second sense.
Right, but what do you mean? The first one was pretty sweet too, kind of.
Nah, that womanizer, get him out of here.
What do you mean? It was 2 years ago. Things have changed.
Apparently not in the feudal era. They remember for 2 years.
Right.
She was only trying to be considerate of you.
Come on. It wasn't like I was telling her anything I didn't want overheard. What are you blaming me for?
Ugh, you are so irritating. Sit, boy. No good. I guess it only works when Kagome says it.
You only figured that out now, stupid?
I was kinda hoping that would work.
Okay, so for the first segment that we prepared for today, we wanted to talk about InuYasha's growth. Because in this set of episodes, we once again are faced with a scene where InuYasha needs to strengthen his sword in order to get themselves out of a sticky situation. And it made me think of all the times in the past where InuYasha has strengthened Tessaiga. And I found a commonality in the fact that he only ever strengthens his sword when there's something to protect.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the very first time we ever see Tessaiga and InuYasha, it's just this rusty, thin sword, right? And the very first time it transforms and cuts off Sesshomaru's arm is when InuYasha tells Kagome to shut up and let him protect her. And then the sword transformed. And then when he first used the wind scar, that was when Moroku was lying helplessly next to his father's grave and his wind tunnel was threatening to eat him alive. And InuYasha stepped in front of him and all the demons and said, "Shut up and let me protect you." And he unleashed his very first wind scar. And then the backlash wave was rejecting his demon self against Ryukotse. When he obtained the Tetsaiga that can cut through barriers, it was because he refused to slay the half-demon Shiori. And now, finally, we stand in front of Hosenki, and he offers the power of the Adamant Barrage. And in this scene, we have InuYasha trying to slay Hosenki so he can get the skill, but at the same time, Naraku's miasma is about to kill his friends. So InuYasha has to decide between power or friends. And in this moment, he chooses friends, so he steps away from Hosenki. And Hosenki is like, hey, wait, come back. What about this power you need to get stronger? If you don't do this now, you're never going to get this power. And InuYasha's like, shut up. I got to protect my friends.
I'm starting to see a trend here.
Yeah, he says shut up a lot, doesn't he?
I need to protect my friends.
I need to protect my friends, okay? So Hosenki's like, that is the correct answer. And InuYasha obtains the power of the Adamant Barrage, which I found to be a funny name. So there's a conversation with Miyoga about Adamant.
And Kagome, right?
Yes, with Kagome about Adamant and Diamond. And so Kagome's calling it Diamond, but Miyoga's like, no, it's Adamant. It's the same thing, actually, but it's just funny because in the feudal era, I guess it was called Adamant rather than Diamond. So that's why it's called the Adamant Barrage. But this is a brand new power. He shoots out diamond spikes and it pierces through Naraku's body, and that's what causes Naraku to run away from the fight, and InuYasha and the gang save the day and obtain the final Shikon Jewel shard.
I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the Adamant/Diamond Barrage, I got really excited because I've never seen it before.
Yeah, right? It's such a cool move. Like, you know, like Tetsaiga's getting some cooler moves. You know, like Red Tetsaiga, InuYasha barely ever used it. Backlash wave, barely ever used it. All you know, wind scar. Yeah, like, come on, give me a new move to throw around.
Adamant Barrage, I'm all in.
So the thing I want to ask and address about InuYasha's growth from going from this very selfish creature that wants the Shikon Jewel shard for himself so he can become full demon to this type of character that wants to protect his friends over gaining more power. Like, when did InuYasha begin to change? When did he begin to show a less selfish side of him?
When he met Kagome.
All right, that's the beginning of the series, Shang. That's quite the cop-out answer. Now, can we
What do you
can we get a different moment in time when he might have started to change?
When he met Kagome. Good times.
Okay, so Shang says episode 1.
No, a little bit after episode 1.
Okay, we'll give you some leeway. Episode 3.
All right, I'll take it.
I think that's right after the Shikon Jewel shatters. I think that's what you get. That's when he starts to change.
Yes,
all right.
Yes.
That is Shang's final answer, episode 3. I think for me, although I do partially agree with Shang, I think that he started to show more selflessness close to around the time when he kept turning into a demon. Because I think that's when he realized he wasn't that strong and that he had to rely on this sword to, that he had to rely on this sword to have strength. And I think at that time was when he was like, okay, this is the state of who I am. And in order for me to protect my friends, I need to rely on Tetsaiga and understand that I cannot fight every single battle alone. But I mean, it's a very open-ended question at the same time. Like, I feel like InuYasha's been growing throughout this whole series, so it's very hard to just single out a point in which he was like, oh, he's definitely changed. It's more like we think about him back then and we think about him now and we're like, oh yeah, he changed.
See, when I think about the question more, it's like, what was he like prior to actually getting the Tetsaiga? Just a little bit. Because I remember in the context of you saying, hey, shut up, let me protect you, the first time Tetsaiga transformed, it made me think, before he didn't really care too much about Kagome, but him saying that makes me think maybe somewhere before getting Tetsaiga, there was something about Kagome that he wanted to protect for some reason. Because, like, wasn't there, like, a reason? Like, I remember way back there, Mio and you were, like, talking about the reason why Tetsaiga, like, there was, like, a requirement for Tetsaiga to transform, right?
Correct. And the requirement was that he needed something to protect, or he wanted to protect something. And that's how Tetsaiga would transform.
So then my immediate change, because I'm gonna get my eraser, and instead of the answer being A, I'm gonna change it to C.
You heard it here first. It hasn't even been 5 minutes, and our boy Shang's changing his answer.
That's right, I'm changing my answer. I'm gonna say I don't remember the episodes, but somewhere when he gets Tetsaiga and believes that he needs to protect Kagome, or somewhere a little bit before.
Okay, so Shang is shifting from episode 3 to about episode 6.
Yes, I'll take it.
A good shift, a good shift.
3 episodes after, I'm into it.
Actually, to be honest, I think for me I'm not going to change my answer, but I think if I were to think about this like more deeply, I think it's after everyone joins the group where he really begins to change, you know, like when he starts to realize that he's not alone in his struggle, and that he has Kagome, Moroku, Sango, and sometimes Shippo to like depend on and to be his friends. I think that's when he begins to really like have a tonal shift in his character.
I like how you say Shippo and depend.
Sometimes Shippo, it depends.
That's the real joke. Oh no, you're not supposed to laugh. No. Poor Shippo.
No poor Shippo. Shippo deserves what he gets.
Oh, feels bad.
All right, Shang. I got an opinion for you, and I want you to agree or disagree.
Okay.
The opinion is InuYasha carried the fight in the Netherworld to secure the final Shikon Jewel Shard.
Carried the fight.
Put his team on his back and carried them.
Yes, most definitely.
I think so too. I mean, you know, he learns a new skill. Everyone else is kind of sitting inside InuYasha's dead dad's mouth and like going like, miasma.
We don't know what to do. Even Jockin's there's like, oh my god, the miasma.
Jockin's like, Lord Sishomaru.
So Shomu's like, I'm too busy fighting. I'm sorry, Jockin.
Yeah, I'm too busy looking cool.
Pretty much.
And then I think, at least Kagome attempts to fire some arrows and it momentarily pushes some miasma away. Moroku isn't able to absorb any of the miasma, so he doesn't do anything. And I believe Sango throws the Hiraikots a couple times, but it doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, carried the fight, InuYasha.
So if anything, they were like fighting the miasma, and I guess doing something against Hosenki, but there wasn't a lot going on. So yeah, InuYasha did most of the work here. That's my boy.
I think so too. If you agree with us, let us know on Twitter with hashtag either Commando Kaede or hashtag Flossing InuYasha. We're trying to figure out what hashtag to use. I'm struggling at the moment.
All I could see is those wooden teeth.
No, not that I'm trying to forget those.
Are the lives of your comrades more important than strengthening your sword? Is that because you are a mere half-demon?
I am what I am, and I'll do things the way I want to.
InuYasha, even if you obtained my demonic powers, would you be able to control them?
Shut up! Maybe I don't want them after all. You can keep your great demonic powers. I'll pass.
InuYasha!
I'm gonna focus on what has to be done right now. Nothing else matters to me. Wind Star!
Even if he does use the wind scar to dissipate the miasma.
Impossible. These are Hosenki's spears of adamant.
Look! Naraku's barrier has been shattered!
Okay. So the second topic that I wanted to bring up was the theme of Kohaku's struggle. So we've seen Kohaku a lot throughout the series, but he's very often not been in his own right mind. And we're finally entering a point in the plot where Kohaku is actually conscious of what is going on. He remembers what he's done, and he is struggling because what he believes is that he needs to atone for his sins, and the only way for him to atone for his sins is to kill Naraku. But in order for him to kill Naraku, he has to get close to Naraku's heart. And in order to get close to Naraku's heart, he cannot betray Naraku, because if Naraku finds out that he remembers everything and is going to kill him, then he's never going to get close to his heart. So Kohaku is struggling between obeying Naraku and atoning for his sins by killing Naraku. Now, I tried to make a list of all the people that Kohaku has killed in the past, and it's difficult.
Ooh, there is a long list of names.
Not even a list of names. There's a long list of poor villagers who were never named and like animated for 3 seconds.
Guy 1, guy 2, woman 5, 7.
Oh no.
Maybe a couple children. I don't know.
Yeah, there were definitely children. I think I don't remember. So like for sure we remember Kohaku slayed his father and his fellow demon slayers. He killed multiple villages.
Yes.
Most recently, in a few episodes back, he kills the group of really nice ladies that were protecting Naraku's infant, and then takes the infant away. And then most recently in this batch of episodes, he is responsible for the killing of many, many unnamed villagers when he unleashes the demon rats to lure out Kikyo as a part of Hakudoshi's plan.
Is it really his fault, though, or Hakudoshi's?
I think the blame is to be shared, but he definitely does deserve some of the blame because he could close the doors, you know?
True.
But in his mind, the only solution he has is I have to obey Naraku until I get my chance. And so the question I want to pose is, why didn't Kohaku ask for help? Why didn't he consider any other option?
Because he knew he was always being watched.
Okay, so like, let's consider this alternative. Naraku finds out that Kohaku is going to betray him, and Kohaku has to flee. And if Kohaku has to flee, Kohaku would probably flee to InuYasha and the gang. And if he were in that position, he would most likely have asked for help from InuYasha and the gang, right? So why didn't he ever consider asking his sister and InuYasha for help rather than shoulder this entire burden on himself?
Because he would never get close enough.
But InuYasha will get close enough eventually.
Not as close as Kohaku would ever get.
So what you're saying is that essentially Kohaku believed that this was his best chance to
pretty much
go about this alone.
Yes, because InuYasha wants to do it with a group with his power, which makes sense. He's going to do it, you know, he's basically going to kick Naraku's doors down just to get to him, which, you know, you could see that very, very clearly with him using all the, you know, wind scar, the new adamant barrage. But I feel like Kohaku, even though he's very aware of the situation, and I'm sure he wants to ask for InuYasha or his sister's help, he just feels like if he does, he will lose his chance of truly getting close to Naraku, since he's practically by his side. And like, without him noticing, or maybe the fact that Naraku has so much trust in Kohaku that he would never notice his attack.
That's kind of ninja-like of him, isn't it?
Pretty much is what I think. So like, InuYasha is the guy kicking the door down, being loud, while Kohaku is being the ninja who's doing all these atrocities to stay hidden.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now that you mention it, like, I think this whole sneakiness of Kohaku and his plan feels much more Demon Slayer like than going and asking for help, because like a Demon Slayer is supposed to like stealthily and quickly kill his target. So it kind of makes sense if you kind of try to delve into his mindset and how he's been trained. At the same time, I also think that Kohaku personally feels very responsible for all the deaths that he caused. So he thinks that he
definitely.
is solely responsible for all of it, and he has to be the one that exacts the vengeance.
Because I know how we talk about InuYasha and like practically everyone else's growth. So we'll talk about Kohaku's growth too. Because in the beginning, like we know, he did a lot of killing. He killed his father, the people around him. He seriously injured his sister. He's like, oh man, I can't believe what I've done. And then it's practically a death. Zora's or dead gets revived by Naraku, and still remembers all the tragedy that he's done. He's like, oh, I can't believe it. I can't take it. I want to forget. So he does. But when he remembers again, he's like, oh no, I can't believe all these things that I've done. Forgets again. But now that he's kind of getting used to like remembering all the times he's been practically forced to forget, he's like, okay, I have to accept everything I've done. Everything that, like, even if you forget all your experiences that you've done prior to forgetting, you're going to remember it all. So it's like, oh man, I can't believe I've done all this. I just have to accept it and somehow enact my revenge for everything I've done. Well, I don't know, avenge, but atone for everything I've done to, I can't find the words here. Like basically atone for all the killings he's done.
Yeah, he just needs to atone.
Yeah.
That's actually very mature of him for being like a 10-year-old boy. That is a very mature 10-year-old boy.
Ah, my boy Kohaku.
But the last thing I do want to point out is like, like Kohaku isn't like steadfast in his plan of like, I will obey Naraku until I get my chance. You can tell he's struggling, especially when Sango shows up and it's like, Kohaku, why are you doing this? And he's like, sister, no. And he's like, he hates the fact that he has to go against InuYasha and his sister. Like, he hates that. But in his mind, he thinks this is my only way to atone for what I've done, and I have to stick by that.
You know what I realize now is that Sango is his greatest reminder of everything he's done.
She really is.
Because every time they meet,
yeah,
it's like, Kohaku, not again. What have you done? It's like, oh,
Villager
boy.
number 5, Kohaku, why?
They were innocent.
Villager
not again.
420, no.
Right?
He was,
no,
just,
not 420.
He was just blazing it.
And you killed him. And then you smoked all his lettuces. What?
Wait, Kohaku.
Oh, get lit, boys.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, we're getting off topic. Help.
All right. Well, I guess, I would say to wrap up this discussion about Kohaku, I just want to ask you the question. What would you have done in his situation? Would you have tried to seek out and kill Naraku on your own? Or would you have gone to InuYasha and his friends and tried to defeat Naraku together?
Ooh, boy. Ooh, boy. If I was in a Kohaku situation, I feel like in Kohaku's situation, I feel like I would probably go the same route, only because my mindset is, if I'm Kohaku and this is where I am right now, and I really don't know InuYasha that much, except I know that he's with my sister and they're fighting together. Now this is a tough one.
It really is, right? Like, I'm thinking about it. If I were Kohaku and I had killed my friends, my family, almost killed my sister, killed tons of villagers and all that, honestly, I feel like if I were Kohaku, I would attempt to defeat Naraku on my own as well. But at the same time, I think that I would know the better choice would be to get help, but I don't think I would allow myself to do it because of what I had done. And so the point of this practice is for me to just say that I feel like Rumiko Takahashi really fleshed out Kohaku and his struggle
Yeah.
to the point where I think what he's doing is believable as Kohaku. And I think that's what makes his story so compelling right now. And I want to see where this goes further. Will Kohaku ever get into the position where he can slay Naraku's heart? Or will something go awry in his plans and force him to choose a plan B?
Why let more loose? Hikyo has already come out of hiding.
And don't close the doors.
Damn him. He's doing this for his own enjoyment. If I close these doors, the rats will stop. Even now, it may save some lives. I'm being watched. If I close the doors, Naraku will know that my memory has returned.
Kohaku! Don't tell me you're behind this.
Sister.
Kohaku. On my way here, I saw so many villages devoured by rats. How I wish that you were not a part of this.
I can't disobey my orders.
Kohaku!
All right. It is that time again for us to announce the best and worst episodes of InuYasha and today's batch. So for me, honestly, I was struggling to figure out a best episode. And I think at the end of it, I think I appreciate Kohaku's struggle more than InuYasha's growth. So I'm going to go
That's
with episode 159 for my favorite episode of the batch. And then I'm going to very quickly go with 161 for the worst episode of the batch, which is that Moroku story with the girl from 2 years ago and stuff. Like, okay, look, the resolution was heartfelt, but I just didn't want to see that episode at the time.
I will as well mirror these options because I enjoyed the heck out of Kohaku and Kohaku's interaction, like the realization of everything he's done, his ambition to take out Naraku, his interaction with his sister, and knowing the fact that it pains them both to see the everything that has happened so far, and that like Kohaku wants to do this, he wants to tell people, but he can't. Sango is in disbelief of how corrupt Kohaku has been and killing so many villagers. I love it. And of course, the worst episode being what my boy Loofie said, the Homoroku one. It's like, yeah, it wasn't the greatest, but I could see it happening.
Yeah, because at least 160 made me laugh.
Yeah.
InuYasha versus the bike. Hey, that's almost like that filler I proposed with InuYasha versus the car, but it was actually just InuYasha versus the bike.
It's a goddamn bike. Yeah.
Well, those are our best and worst episodes of this batch. Honestly, all the episodes were pretty good. I think it was really hard to choose the worst one because, like, we have seen worse. We have seen
Right.
much worse. So,
Mhm.
you know, you win some, you lose some, episode 161. You just didn't win today. All right. So, with the trivia questions now, it is time to get the trivia answers. So, Our very first question of the day today was, what are the names of Kikyo's two Shikigami? And the answer is Kocho and Asuka. Now, this part, you do hear Kikyo refer to him like twice. But, but
I see.
but it was some good trivia, if you know what I mean.
Oh man, I totally knew that. Oh, I was just messing around.
Yeah, Kocho and Asuka. How did you not know?
How fun could I ever forget that one?
All right. Question number 2 was, what is the name of the weapon that Kohaku wields? And the answer is Kusarigama, which means chain sickle, which is quite literally what he has. It's a sickle on a chain.
I knew it. I always knew.
I always knew it. I thought it was a sword. A sword would have been a cop-out answer.
I knew it was some weird boomerang that was made of metal on chains. I knew it.
Wait a second.
Wait, what?
Hiraikon's?
Yeah.
Hiraikon's?
I knew it.
All right. Well, I hope people learn something new from these trivia questions. Like I try to come up with non-obvious ones that it's like when you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. Now I know a little bit more. So since this is an anime podcast, Shang and I have prepared a couple of recommendations of animes that you might enjoy if you enjoy InuYasha. And so the anime that I want to recommend for this episode is Trigun. Trigun is an anime from like 1998 or something like that, and it follows the story of Vash the Stampede in the Wild West, and it is an amazing anime. I loved it when I was growing up. It also aired on Adult Swim around the same time that InuYasha aired, and it is hilarious. It has the best soap opera like drama. It has some really cool villains, some really cool main characters. It's 26 episodes long, so it's bingeable in a weekend. And it's just a wild ride. And I loved every episode in that series. And so I highly recommend it. And like, if I had the option, I would go back and rewatch it right now.
I mean, we can.
I guess we could.
Okay, for me, oh man. Okay, so mine is legit the Dot Hack series because that anime.
Wait,
I'm
Shang,
sure
you
if
mean
anybody-
Dot Hack Sign, right?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say all of it. I like all of it.
Shang, you can't keep recommending like 6 series in one recommendation.
I love it.
Stop cheating, Shang.
Fine. Okay, so my choice is gonna be Dot Hack Sign. So for anybody who's like familiar with the animes that deal with characters essentially going into the game world, that's essentially what the Dot Hack Sign is. It's an anime about people who experience an MMO. There's a lot of fighting, a lot of drama. It's all around a good anime. So for those who are like, oh man, I like stuff like Sword Art Online, well, maybe you should watch Dot Hack. So if you're into like MMO animes of old school, that's pretty good, that's pretty melodramatic and dark, Dot Hack.
Yeah, so you can watch Trigun on Hulu and Funimation, and Dot Hack Sign is available only on Funimation. So if you guys are interested in watching those, please check them out there. Okay, so this has been Anime Rewind. You guys, thank you for hanging in there with us through 18 long episodes. You guys, this is the penultimate episode before the end of InuYasha, the series. We're finally here. And so the season 1 finale of Anime Rewind will be out March 31st, where we cover InuYasha 162 to 167. I cannot wait. I am so excited, not for the end of InuYasha, but to just experience and complete the series that I remember from my childhood.
I can't believe we're here.
Yeah, honestly, we've come a long way, haven't we?
Like, at first, I didn't think we'd make it this far, but man, episode 18 into episode 19, the dream.
The dream. I think we owe a lot of thanks to the people who have listened to this podcast, because if there was no one listening, there would be no reason for us to continue talking about InuYasha and recording each episode. So thank you guys for encouraging us to continue and just
Thank you.
giving us the support to really make Anime Rewind a possibility. So once again, thank you so much for listening and supporting this podcast. My name's Loofie.
My name is Shang.
And remember, commando until proven not commando.
僕らにどんな世界が道なき道の先に待ってる声なき声はこのままどこにも届かずに消えてゆくの忘れない消せない今日の後悔も投げ捨てがむしゃらに明日を目指す朝日に照らされたキス笑い合って終わることない旅を続けよう向かい風としていながらそれでも進む理由があるだから友よ置いてくためだけに生きるのはまだ早いだろう身につけたもの抱え込んだもの手放した時始まる何かうまく生きてく